So now we are going to move on to the other concept that I wanted to explain with this, which is memory. So understanding the memory of how computers, robotic systems works, and in our case, the Arduino, it helps you understand your code better and how the machine reads the instructions in your code. So it's worthwhile knowing this. A machine, Arduino or robotic system, typically has one memory which is divided into two parts. So there is memory that handles external features, and there's memory that handles internal features. So what I mean by this is, as humans, you have memory for doing things outside or external things. So these are things like remembering that you use your hands to touch, you use your legs to walk. It's the all of these you remember. It's something that your subconscious knows, but it's there in your muscle memory. So this is memory that concerns the things of the outside. These are when you do things from your muscle memory, people can see this and they can see what's going on. Like, so they have a sort of access to your memory through the actions that you do. And this memory handles your external features. So your body language, when you speak, how you move, it's all in your muscle memory. Yeah, which comes from your brain, obviously. Then you have memory that handles internal features. By these internal features, it's things like, so while you're walking, you could be remembering certain events or a joke that happened last week, or maybe in New Year's evening, something that makes you feel good, But as you're thinking about this stuff, other people seeing you from the outside cannot tell what's going on in your brain. Same as when you are playing a sport. So your muscle memory is doing all the sports. Let's use soccer and all the kicking. But then maybe while you're playing your soccer, you're also thinking of another soccer game that happened maybe during the 2010 World Cup, and maybe you're thinking about this and you're trying to work out how you can use the event that happened in the 2010 FIFA World Cup to the current soccer game that you're playing. Although this is going on in your mind, the spectators cannot see this. It goes on internally, and then it goes to your external memory or to your muscle memory the moment you decide to do the action. So the same works with our robotic systems. Your robotic system has an internal memory that does all the calculations in its head, and then it gives it to the external side, which then performs the features and which then handles everything that you're going to be seeing moving in your robot. But then the actual calculation on when to move, how to move, it's actually done by the internal section, which then gives it to the external section. So I want to bring back a line of code that we had before, and I'm going to explain in which side of the memory this lies. So you remember this line, this pin mode line. This line makes pin number 8 as an output, which means that pin number 8 gives out external signals that control our LED. So this line of code would actually be handled by the external memory, or the memory that, let me not say external memory, the memory that handles the external features. This will lie in the memory that handles external features. What do I mean by this is that when you give the Arduino this instruction, it remembers it and keeps it in the external memory section. So it will know that, okay, now in where I remember what to do with my physical or my hardware, I will put this instruction. This is where I will remember this instruction, or this is where I will keep this instruction. And then so we also have our internal memory section. I'm just going to put section. So this I will handle all the specifics that happen inside our Arduino. Now, an example of this would be when the LED is going on and off, which is going to be done according to this function, based on this function. We could also tell the Arduino, because it's a very smart machine. We can also tell it that keep in mind how many times the LED goes on and off and on and off, on and off. So this will be handled by the internal memory section. So when it's actually logging how many times the LED is going on and off, from the outside, you as the programmer, you will not see that, because all that's going to be happening in the system is that the LED will be going on and off. But internally, the Arduino is actually counting. It is counting how many times the Arduino goes on and off, and it will keep that amount of time the LED has flashed in its internal memory. So when we speak about internal memory, one thing that we need to remember is something called variables. So the word variables is used most often when you are referring to holders, I would say, or features of the internal memory. Here, this pin number 8 is also a variable, but then it's an external variable. It's something that you can touch on your Arduino. Then the internal variables, you can't really play around them because they happen inside the Arduino's memory. But then I'm going to explain what I mean by variables, and how these two exist in the external memory and in the internal memory.